Fresh off the plane, I check my chains and all my luggage. You think that designer make you different, but it doesn't. You don't know the difference between getting rich and buzzing. Creeping in that Jeep with GR3, yeah, that's my brother.
Zone 3 Podcast. This is Robert, and I'm Reggie.
And I'm Reggie. And I'm out of breath.
Woo. Man, that's about...
How many kilometers is that?
18,000, I believe.
I swear to God, we just ran across the pond. I'm wondering how that's physically possible.
If you could skip rocks.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on a wrap-up episode.
Yeah, we're fresh off the plane. We really did not run the whole way, but we tricked you, ha. Fresh off the plane, long flight, 11 hours. Reggie slept the whole way. Cut to the photo of him right now, stretched across 4 seats on the airplane, had a whole row to himself, me too. It was awesome.
Right.
Back still hurts though.
Yo.
Slept wrong.
But we had a great trip, right? Overall, got to do a lot in London, more than just ISMRT, but we'll kind of get into that a little later. But I guess we should start off with some shout outs, right? Do some shout outs.
Who's worthy of a shout out, Reggie? I would say for sure that's our sponsor, who made this possible.
Yes. Aegys, thank you.
Yes.
Helping us get some badges for sure.
So if you want to step up your MRI safety game, look up TechGate, and they're doing some innovative things in the industry right now. So
for sure.
Aegys, thank you for making it possible.
Yeah, thank you guys.
They helped us to get a badge inside of the conference.
Yeah.
The conference itself. So I guess where I'm confused, and it's been that way since day one, and it still is some people call it SMRT, some people call it ISRM. What is it?
ISMRM.
Yeah, and then what's the other one?
And then ISMRT.
So what's the differences, Reggie?
So the differences is... So the differences are pretty much going to be ISMRT for MRI technologists and people who are trainees, people who are kind of new to the field, getting into the field. There's a lot of continuing education geared towards clinical work for ISMRT. And then ISMRM is more geared towards, scientists, physicists, radiologists. It's more research involved on that aspect. So
in terms of radiographers, MRI technologists, that would be the
ISMRT.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start referring to it as that. But
but definitely check it out.
The conference is what we went there for.
Right.
But more than that, it was Reggie's first time in the city. I actually lived there years ago for a short period of time. Clapham South. Got to go see my old apartment, which wasn't as nice as I remember. Still nice, but not as nice as I remember. Okay.
Robert is big on nostalgia, in case you guys didn't know that already. If you haven't watched any of our other episodes.
Yeah, I got my heart on my sleeve.
You know what I'm saying?
But no, we got to see some cool things in London, did some sightseeing. What was the highlight for you there?
The highlight had to be my 7T experience. That will
No. We're doing sightseeing highlights.
Sightseeing highlights? I guess Big Ben. I would say Big Ben was pretty cool. It was I'm so used to digital clocks. Seeing a mechanical was impressive.
Which is right beside Westminster Abbey, for those of you who are familiar with the layout of the city, and it's all really like a condensed area of great sightseeing. I mean,
right.
Just a short Uber ride for us. We could have taken the tube, but taking an Uber gave us a chance to see outside more. But from Buckingham Palace, we went to the Big Ben, Westminster Abbey. We did not do the Eye because I have a fear of heights, and you couldn't pay me enough.
Oh yeah, you guys should have seen him at the Sky Garden.
We did go to the Sky Garden, and that was pretty cool. But I said, take the picture, hurry. All right, let's go downstairs now. But speaking of heights and sightseeing, one highlight for me, though, was St. Paul's Cathedral, because we did more than just get to see the inside. We got to go up to all the way to the very top and see the inside at the very top and looking down, but also see the city from the view of the top. I'd been to St. Paul's Cathedral before. That, for me, was a highlight, like I said, but before when I went, they were actually recording the Da Vinci Code, and I couldn't go inside.
Nice.
This was in 2005, so it was cool to see on the inside, and it was really, really cool architecture. We took the tour there. For me, that was a highlight as far as sightseeing goes. We did go see the London Bridge. We weren't far. We were actually staying in Battersea Park, for those of you who are curious.
Oh, yeah. Big shout out.
Yeah,
Beautiful park out that way.
It was. We went to...
I'm not going to shout out our Airbnb, though, because we kind of got hustled, but it's all good.
You know...
That's a story for another day. No view at the balcony. That's all I'm saying.
Here's what we're going to do. All right, so Airbnb, shame on you, because this right here was your advertised view, and this right here was our actual view. Now I understand with construction and you live in a community building, you don't have control over that. But what you do have control is the fact that you're continuously advertising great view of the park.
Yeah.
But it was still within a short walk of the park, and that was cool. Every morning, Reggie was still asleep. I would get up, go get myself a chai latte, because that's how I roll. With oat milk, extra hot water.
Right.
We were right across the River Thames we went to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant one
Yes.
night. Tried Wagyu, whatever, for the first time ever. Underwhelming.
Right.
But I guess just the underground, the tube itself, is sort of a sightseeing thing for those who have never been to the city. And that was a really easy way for us to get around. We didn't spend the whole time doing Ubers.
That was
We did
nice.
do the tube. That was super helpful.
Yeah.
Buckingham Palace. What am I missing, Reggie?
Google Pay, or Apple Pay. It's just that easy.
That whole city is Apple Pay friendly.
That's all we used the whole day. I could leave my wallet at home technically.
Yeah, and I did actually a couple times.
Yeah, you did. That's right.
Street smarts, my friend. I guess we're still talking about sightseeing. I feel like there was some other stuff that we're missing.
We did the London Bridge. That was cool. We got to see an Uber boat. Never seen one of those before.
Which made me wonder if it was an actual Uber boat or if they were just kind of...
An ad on the side of the boat?
Or they just added the name Uber to it and some trademark issues.
I never thought about that. Yeah. Well, either way, I saw an Uber boat.
While walking along the River Thames, Reggie and I came on the conversation of how much money would it take for you to swim across this thing right now?
Right.
And what was your number?
Mine was, what, 20,000?
I think it was less than that.
10,000?
It was 10,000. I think mine was 20,000.
Yeah, it was pretty short swim. It was like a 15-minute swim, really. It wasn't that long of a swim.
I think it's longer than that. You'd be surprised. But be that as it may, we did more than just sightseeing. We did the conference itself. And at the conference itself, they had... all the different vendors that were there to showcase their, their up-and-coming technology this year.
Their research.
Radiology and
Yeah.
diagnostic imaging. And we were able to actually chat up some of them, and that was really cool. Thank you for making yourself available to us.
Yeah.
But more than that, they had sessions and posters.
For sure. Yeah, they had a bunch of cool sessions. One of the sessions that I'm definitely taking from is the MRI Artifacts Gameshow that they did. I thought that was clever.
It is clever. And actually... it seems so simple. What a great idea.
I know, right? But they also did a few power pitch. And one of my favorite sessions with that was the new coil idea where they're talking about Bluetooth coils, light coils. What was some of the other ones? Like a wearable coil?
Yeah, wearable coils that conform to your body.
Yeah.
For example, like a bra coil.
Yeah, so that was cool.
It was cool. I mean, at the end of the day, when you talk about this industry and coils in general, there's definitely room for improvement.
Right.
A little bit heavier than we'd like them to be, bulkier than we'd like them to be. The patients sometimes do complain, just the weight of it all.
For sure.
And it can be hindering, and if you're claustrophobic, it kind of adds to that. And so you got people with GE, they're coming out with the AIR coil.
Yeah,
and
they made everybody step their game up.
To innovate the game, and they're listening. They're listening to the technologists and what patients are saying out there, and so that's nice.
Yeah, in the comments, let us know what your favorite coil is.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Right.
Ooh, vendor specific or
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's really divide the internet. Big friends in the comments.
Right.
But I mean, honestly, when you go to these conferences, right, a lot of it can be PowerPoint, and it can be monotonous and not really engaging. But so they know, they're aware of this, and so they try to like make it fun. And so they're coming in with games like MR Artifacts game shows, but they're also like the Shark Tank competition.
Yeah,
that was a cool concept.
That was definitely cool too. Really cool. Yeah. So
when you think of how much opportunity there is for innovations in this industry. I mean, what a great idea for a Shark Tank competition.
Right.
Jesse.
Right.
Who we work with. I could see him come up with some ideas soon.
For sure.
Cryptic on purpose. So shout out to Jesse.
Big shout out to Jesse.
What else? We got with these posters, these sessions, one of the topics that came up is just diagnostic imaging and how that relates to mental disorders.
Yeah.
And how
saw a few posters like
we
that.
can use MRI as a tool to help with therapy and diagnosis of that. And so there was an interesting one that kind of got into like schizophrenia.
Yeah, using
pedophilia,
biomarkers and stuff. Yeah.
Was it bipolar?
Yeah.
So check out that. We're going to leave the links in the description. And speaking of societies that are doing big things, there's a shout out we want to do for.
Oh yeah, the British.
Using this lanyard at work, so shout out to them. But this is the British Association of MRI Radiographers.
All right, Zone 3 podcast. We're in London with the British Association of MRI Radiographers. I was told not to call you guys techs.
Absolutely.
Preferably, it's radiographers. I apologize for that, but it was eye-catching, obviously, because we're MRI techs and we're here in Britain. So if you would just kind of tell us about your community and.
Yeah. So. As you say, we're known as BAMMR, which is a lot easier to say than the British Association of MR Radiographers. There's about 500 of us members, and we promote education and CPD, which is continued professional development for radiographers in the UK. We've also got members internationally as well. We've got some in Portugal and Australia, so it'd be great to have some US family friends as well. So if you go onto our website, we've got education courses, we've got safety bits and pieces, we do an annual conference, which obviously for the last couple of years has been virtual, but hopefully it'll be face-to-face this year. We're not altogether sure yet, we haven't worked that out. And that's about it really, and if you were here, you could have some freebies, but you're not.
But where would they be able to sign up for membership?
So membership, if you go on to BAMMR.org, so that's BAMRR.org, and you can join. Membership is £30. I've no idea what that is in US dollars.
Probably about $45.
Yeah, not much more. Yeah. And that's annual membership. And you get reduced fees for all our courses and conferences as a member. And there's different bits on the website that you can access as a member, links to education, safety, all sorts of other bits and pieces as well.
Very cool. Thank you, Helen.
Thank
you, Rachel. And thank you for this lanyard. I'm going to take it.
Take a few for your friends.
I will, actually. And I guess that's Zone 3 Podcast. What is it again?
BAMMR.
BAMMR. Okay, thank you. Zone 3 Podcast. We're out.
We love what they're doing. They're trying to build their own community, and so it's more than just UK techs or radiographers. So look into joining that if you would.
Yeah, and radiographers. Can we touch on that real quick?
Absolutely.
So one of the biggest differences that we noticed during site visits that we did was the usage of what they called their MRI technologists or radiographers. I don't even know. There are people who do their MRIs. So they prefer to be called radiographers.
So I guess to kind of break it down, so radiologists there are called specialists, and I hope I'm getting this right based on my poor memory, but because they're called specialists, radiographers are called rads. So if you refer to the rad, thinking that you're referencing the radiologist, they think that you're referencing them, the radiographer.
Right.
So there's a language barrier there. There's some confusion. And so they prefer to be called radiographers. They prefer the radiologist to be called specialist. There is a position there, and I assume it's very similar to like what an MA would be here, and they themselves are called technologists.
Right.
And so everybody's got their own.
Or technicians, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, everyone has their own preference, yeah. So that was interesting, having to deal with that.
And we definitely slipped up a few times and accidentally called. I hope we didn't offend anybody technologists.
Right.
It's with good intentions. But that kind of leads us into these site visits. So we were actually really, really lucky. We were super lucky. And we actually have Elaine Berry to thank. And so Elaine,
oh, yeah, big shout out, Elaine.
Man, you were a huge help. I kind of just reached out to some people online a few months prior to us visiting. I said, we're coming there. We hope to do some site visits. What we want to do is we want to visit these other places in other parts of the world and see their workflow, see how it compares to ours, their safety precautions that they take. Just pick the brains of like-minded professionals that do the same thing that we do, but other parts of the world, and that in itself is super fascinating.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I think that's I think we both kind of love that part about the job is that you can learn something from just working with another technologist, right? So, I mean, what a great opportunity for us to go to London and see what we can learn from those technologists. And so we started out at Bartholomew Cardiac Center, right?
So shout out to Jed Gibbs, who made himself available to us and his whole staff and department. He gave us a tour. They were super friendly.
Yeah.
Being a cardiac tech myself, this is one of the largest cardiac diagnostic imaging centers in Europe. So it was fascinating for me. But they're just regular guys. You could pick their brain. They made themselves super available to us. They were way nicer than they ever had to be.
For sure.
And I just felt like I didn't want to, I didn't want to get in the way. At the same time, I also had tons of questions I wanted to ask.
Right.
And they were happy to answer all of them. So.
Yeah. And we learned a lot. I feel like for the most part, a lot of similarities, right? There's a lot of stuff that we do very similar, a lot of best practices for some of the protocols, like their cardiac protocols that they do. We're doing those similar things at our facility. They use the same manufacturer, same kind of scanners, of course. But some of the differences that we notice, and mostly it was all dealing with, of course, they aren't really hourly. Most of them are salary, right? They don't really do hourly wages there.
Yeah.
So we thought that was interesting.
And I think because of the way their insurance setup is.
Yeah, their healthcare system.
For the radiographers isn't the same.
Right.
So that was a surprise.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider the cost of living in London, it's notorious. Some compared to like New York or something, but it's more of a. I mean, I don't really want to get into the politics of how their insurance is.
Right, social health care. That's a whole nother podcast in itself. But
yeah, actually, it might be. But
right. But
my point is we were able to really get in there, ask the questions, and they were happy to answer them, and we were able to kind of see what they're doing, the similarities, the differences, and it was intriguing.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, and no knock on Barts, that place was super awesome to visit. But a highlight for me was Cambridge. We went and did a site visit at Cambridge. And for you, those of you that don't know, it's about an hour north of London on a train ride. And it's actually the second oldest university in the world. It says that it was first founded in 1209. And
nice.
We were able to visit different parts. I guess there's multiple locations of the college itself. But we went to King's College. We want to thank Vicky there.
Big shout out to Vicky.
You're a natural. She gave us the opportunity to record there, so you're going to see some really cool footage.
Yeah, make sure when we drop that video, check that out.
Reggie was able to
7T, baby.
Yeah, they put him in the bore of a 7T.
Yeah,
experience that.
Interesting experience
for him and all that.
Right.
Did you say yes to claustrophobic? He did well, though. He did well. What physical experience did you have while being board?
If you really want to check that out, I would suggest going to the video. I prefer not to have too much overlap. No,
I like it. Good. And actually, one thing I did find interesting, and in hindsight, it makes so much sense, so obvious. But just to bring the patient into ISO Center.
Right. Oh, right. Got to slow that thing down, right?
Yeah, and it was full speed, but full speed is all relative.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Because it was actually slow speed. It went in super slow.
Right.
But it makes sense why. It's a 7T, 70,000 Gauss. So that was an interesting experience. You got to get scanned on the Hyperfine. You've been on a 7T. Look at you, Reggie.
Man, what is next?
What is
Betamax, maybe? Not Betamax. Freemax.
Siemens. Alpha Max, man, myself here.
Siemens got that 80 centimeter bore out there. That's a 0.5, I think. Low field. I don't know. But
they're doing hyperpolarizing. They're doing a lot of research. They're doing more than just clinical stuff. I mean, Cambridge is kind of, they were the first sites to scan a COVID patient.
Yeah,
Which makes sense when you're one of the first colleges or universities in the world.
Yeah, they were one of the first for a lot of stuff. I mean, their research is groundbreaking, and opened up a lot of doorways. So some of the clinical stuff that we're doing today. So definitely check out that video because we definitely touch on some of that stuff. So. And
then ping, we'll put the link right there.
Yeah.
People always say ping in the point, and then it's actually really down here, and then they look like a fool. Ping. But back to the conference itself. One thing I did want to mention is that there were certain vendors, more than others, that really made themselves available to us. So I want to give them a shout out.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we definitely want to shout out Philips. They have their 7700 multinuclear scanner at 3T. So if you're familiar with multinuclear, you're probably more familiar with it on a 7T. And the only problem with doing multinuclear, from my understanding, because I'm mostly a clinical technologist or radiographer, however you want to call me. But from my understanding, multinuclear's only pretty much has been done at 7T. So being able to do it at 3T opens up the doorway to actually use the scanner to scan clinical patients as well.
That's a completely new concept for techs.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, super interesting. I found it to be. Really want to thank the people at Philips for making themselves available to us.
For sure.
Do some content there. And they've been super friendly. Every conference we've ever ran into them. So thank you for that.
Yeah, big fans.
And thank you to GE who gave us an opportunity to take them up.
Yeah.
We get kind of a tour of their AIR coils and
talk to their engineering team, which was cool.
They're making on their setups with that this year.
Right.
So moving forward, we really think that there's a bright future for what they're doing there.
Right. We did secure an interview with GE. Unfortunately, we probably will not release it. Just because of artifact issues. It just didn't come across as well as we hoped, just trying to navigate that. But we're hoping to work with Steve again from GE and hopefully bring that content to you guys in another way or platform. So sorry about that. But
you're just going to take our word for it.
Yeah. but it was
like
great.
You said, we do plan on having him in it as well, again, to cover it more in depth. And so I think that would be an awesome podcast. So look for that. It's going to probably be a few months, but still.
Yeah, and I can definitely, we'll do like because we talked about the Signia lift. So there's a lot of Signias out there. And probably some of the older scanners that I've seen are Signias because they're such a good workhorse, right? Those scanners never die. So we were super interested in this lift simply because we're getting one ourselves at our facility. So I thought it was pretty cool. They kind of showed us the video of how that works and everything like that. And, all the new components that comes with it. You get a brand new table, new covering, but the main magnet's still the same. So we'll probably maybe be able to release some content on that video, but stay tuned.
As far as walking around and picking the brains of different vendors, one place that I found super interesting, anybody who knows, maybe you've seen the Matt Hayes episode on ScanLab, knows that I think that there's a bright future for that of MRI stimulation.
Right.
When you think of how that translates to patient care as far as educating techs to an elite level, new techs and vet techs. And so
for sure.
Love what they're doing, and I love that there's competition, and
yeah,
because that elevates the game. And at the end of the day, it's technologists, and that trickles down to patient care, and so it's everybody that wins.
Yeah, awesome.
I want to thank you also, Gregor.
Right.
We did a pretty cool interview with him.
Yes,
so look for that as well.
For sure. So Gregor is with MRI Comp or MRI Tech Park, and pretty much, if you're not familiar with them, MRI Comp do a lot of device testing for manufacturers. It's pretty much how they kind of get FDA approval and your device information for use, like your conditional settings and all that kind of stuff. So they are working on some really cool stuff to make device lookup, which is still the hardest part of our job, easier. So stay tuned for that for sure, because we are going to bring Gregor back maybe later on this year and have him talk about some of that new technology that they're working on. But this interview is mostly just talking about MRI Comp, what their job is and what they do for the industry. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool because understanding how that process works is helpful, because it's a very dynamic process, right? There's so many different types of scanners. It's just so many variables when it comes to scanning for safety, right? So definitely check that out.
Yeah, so we covered the city itself, sightseeing. We did site visits. We talked about the conference, and there's more to come. Look for that content. And there'll be links below, but What else is
Man, we forgot to thank the community, right? Yo, the Zone 3, thank you, all our subscribers and everyone who watches.
People there were super welcoming, and actually more than once we would go to introduce ourselves and they would say, we know who you are, and it's nice. It was nice to hear. And
yeah.
I told my kids, I'm like, see, Dad, that is cool.
Man, it
was cool. I mean,
super cool.
We got to meet a lot of really cool people, and really, really look forward to doing it again. So
yeah, excited about the field, man. I am. Just gets me pumped again, just like RSNA. It's like I'm an addict getting a fix. Yeah,
I think that's it, right?
That's it. Zone 3 Podcast.
Zone 3 Podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Tell your friends about us, and make friends in the comments. Zone 3 Podcast. We're out.
Good.
I ain't fresh off the plane, I check my chains and all my luggage.